You just gotta pay attention, man. Bleek, cool. That's my guy. Bleek, good. No matter what people say about Bleek music, Bleek don't never gotta make a record again. Bleek, cool. I'm the one on the food truck selling fish.
You could feel the frustration dripping from Beanie Sigel's voice. While he's out grinding on a food truck, Bleek, the same guy Jay-Z was secretly writing for, is chilling with millions, living like royalty. But this wasn't just about ghostwriting or label politics. Nah, Beanie's words cracked open the truth about how Jay really moved behind closed doors. Jay-Z wasn't just a boss, he was a strategist. Every move he made was calculated, making sure the people around him stayed good, even if it meant hiding their weak spots. When Beanie said Jay was helping Bleek with his rhymes, it wasn't shade, it was loyalty. Jay wasn't clowning his guy, he was protecting him, making sure Bleek always looked sharp next to him, never fumbling in front of the cameras.
Bleek over there running Duce. Bleek getting that Duce check. You feel me? So how that say he under Jay? Bleek know what he was doing?
And that's why Dame Dash could talk all he wanted about Bleek never taking over Roc-A-Fella, but Beanie saw through it. Bleek didn't need to take over anything. Jay already made sure his man was set for life. Jay played it smart, setting his crew up like pieces on a chessboard, and in the end, everybody ate, even if they didn't know who was feeding them. You could feel Beanie's pain in every single word he spoke. He wasn't hating, he was hurting. That clip wasn't just about Jay-Z writing for Bleek, it was about a man who helped build a whole dynasty, realizing that the game he gave his soul to never loved him back the same way. That's a hard pill to swallow, especially when you helped lay the foundation and got left watching from the outside.
I mean, I don't think Bleek wanted to take over. I don't think he had the ability to, Jay was writing a lot of his rhymes. So if Jay retired, that meant he was out of business as well. You know what I'm saying? Like that, Jay couldn't. If he's still making records, Jay can't retire. Jay was writing his record. Ask Bleek about it. You
asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Did he write for Bleek?
Yeah, did he write for Bleek?
Yeah, man. Of course. Jay helped Bleek out on a lot of shit.
This Beanie and Bleek situation ain't just a personal issue. It's a mirror held up to hip-hop itself. It shows how loyalty and business rarely live under the same roof. Beanie saying, "I'm on a food truck while Bleek living good," wasn't jealousy, it was truth. It's what happens when money moves faster than friendship, when success builds walls between brothers who once shared the same dream. And that cycle ain't new. We've seen it happen over and over. G-Unit, Roc-A-Fella, Cash Money, TDE, same story, different names. When those checks start coming in, somebody's heart always gets left behind. The come-up feels like family, but once the business takes over, it's about survival. Beanie represents the forgotten architects, the ones who helped write the blueprint but never got their piece of the payout. Let's keep it real. Jay-Z did what most power players in this game would do. He wasn't just making moves, he was playing chess. He made sure Bleek was good, made sure his bag was secure, and kept the Roc legacy looking spotless. But that same smart move built an invisible wall between him and the very ones who helped him rise up. You can hear that pain in Beanie's voice. It's not bitterness, it's realization. He's not mad that Jay played the game. He's hurt that the rules changed once the money got serious. Beanie's story hits different because it's not about ghostwriting or who had the bigger house. It's about how fast the game forgets you once the spotlight fades. One day, you're in the booth making magic. The next, you're hustling just to remind people you still exist. That's the harsh truth Beanie's laying out. It's a gut check for every artist who ever believed loyalty meant protection. The industry don't care about brotherhood. It cares about business. Some get covered, some get cashed out, and some just get cut off. Beanie's pain shows what happens when the music stops and the contracts start talking louder than the memories. And here's where things get even heavier. Because Beanie's story isn't just a sad song, it's a warning. The same Roc-A-Fella that once looked unbreakable had cracks forming behind the scenes long before anyone noticed. Jay was focused on building an empire, while the crew that helped him get there was slowly getting pushed to the sidelines. That's the cost of greatness in this business. Somebody always gets left out of the photo. Beanie was one of the few who dared to speak on it, not out of hate, but out of heartbreak. He watched the team that once moved like family turn into a business machine that ran on profit, not passion. When he talks about loyalty, he's really talking about how the love got replaced with contracts and silence. That hits deep because he's not just talking about Jay, he's talking about hip-hop itself.
I don't know. I just know it was like, I don't know how he did it. I just know like Wiz doing a Dynasty album and every record that we all supposed to got on, it always was this me and Jay on the verse. And then one day I came in the studio, let's just say it was 5 records that was me and Jay and Bleek was supposed to be on. And he wasn't on none of them. Like for weeks. And one day I come to the studio and Bleek on 4 records.
It's the same cycle that each crew's alive. Success turns partners into competitors and friends into footnotes. You start with shared dreams, but once money and fame step in, it's every man for himself. Beanie's not crying over lost riches. He's mourning lost brotherhood. And that's what makes his words sting so much. Because deep down, he still remembers when Roc-A-Fella felt like a family, not a brand. But here's the wild part. Beanie still shows respect when he talks about Jay-Z. He knows the man changed the game forever. Still, there's a thin line between admiration and disappointment, and Beanie walks it with every word he speaks. He's not trying to tear Jay down. He's trying to remind people that loyalty should mean something, even when the lights fade and the charts stop calling your name. What Beanie represents is the emotional debt that never gets paid back in this industry. Jay gave Bleek a lifeline, no doubt, but Beanie gave Roc-A-Fella fire. He brought the energy, the hunger, the street edge that made the label feel real. And yet, in the end, he was left rebuilding from the ground while others lived off the legacy they built together. That's the kind of pain money can't fix. You can tell Beanie still carries pride in what they created, but that pride comes with scars. Because in hip-hop, once the empire is built, there's rarely room for everyone who helped lay the bricks. Jay moved like a CEO, but Beanie moved like a soldier, and soldiers bleed, so the generals can shine. That's just how the game works, and it's brutal. Still, Beanie's story forces everyone watching to ask the real question. When the music stops and the fame fades, who really got your back? Because success don't always come with love. And Beanie's life proves that sometimes the realest ones end up paying the highest price. And this is where it all hits the hardest. Beanie's story ain't just about Roc-A-Fella, it's about what happens when loyalty meets reality. He came into the game thinking brotherhood was forever, but the industry reminded him that forever has an expiration date. When the money starts moving, emotions get pushed aside, and people start picking survival over solidarity. That's the real heartbreak behind Beanie's words. See, he wasn't just another rapper in Jay's camp. He was part of the foundation, the soul, the grit, the voice of the streets that made the rock feel authentic. But once corporate deals and brand meetings took over, that raw energy didn't fit the image anymore. Suddenly, the same fire that built the movement became a liability. Beanie went from being a core piece of the dynasty to being treated like old news, and he's still processing that pain today. But let's be real, Beanie's not bitter, he's awake. He's showing the next generation what really happens behind the curtains. You can ride for your team, give your all, and still end up watching from the sidelines. That's the part nobody likes to admit. Beanie's truth is messy, emotional, and real, and that's why it resonates so deep with the culture. His voice reminds everyone chasing fame to pay attention, because in this game, loyalty don't always pay the bills, and the love you give out might not come back when the lights go out. But let's give Beanie his flowers. His pen game, his presence, his voice are still legendary. He helped shape that Roc-A-Fella sound that defined an era, whether people want to admit it or not. Every verse he dropped had that raw energy, that pain, that truth the streets could feel. And the fact that he's still here, still speaking on it, shows the kind of authenticity that made fans fall in love with the rock in the first place. Beanie might not have the millions or the spotlight anymore, but what he's got is legacy. He's a walking reminder of when hip-hop was about loyalty, lyricism, and real emotion, not just brand deals and streaming numbers. Every time his name comes up, people remember those classic moments, those verses that carried weight. He's proof that respect lasts longer than fame. So here's the real question. Do you think Beanie Sigel deserved more from Jay-Z after everything he brought to Roc-A-Fella, or was Jay just moving smart, protecting his empire like any boss would? Drop your thoughts down below, because this one's got the culture split. Was it loyalty or just business? Make sure you like, comment, share, and hit that subscribe button if you're rocking with the story. We keep these conversations raw, real, and straight from the culture. So don't miss the next one. See you in the next video.